All right, good evening. I'm Stephen Bannerman, City Assessor for Finance and IT Services. The following presentation is a supplement to the Property Tax Rate Bylaw 27-2021. The presentation will be broken into three sections, the first being the 2021 summary of the proposed tax rates. The 2021 General Municipal Tax Levy component is based on the City's 2021 operating budget requirements. City Council has established the budget based on service levels for residents and properties for sustaining and developing our community. Passed in December 2020 and approved by Council, the municipal levy is made up of three distinct amounts. The general municipal levy at $108,576,000, the service place capital contribution at $3,281,000, and our 2007 annexation properties at $187,000. Summary is continued here on page 2. This portion of the requisition is something that Council does not control. The City receives an annual requisition from the Province of Alberta, which establishes, what amount is to be levied and collected from the residential and non-residential classes of taxable property. The education tax, commonly referred to as ed tax, equals $34,488,000. Homeland housing requisition, $1,232,000, and the designated industrial requisition is $6,000. The total requisition, pages 1 and 2, equals $147,770,000. The proposed municipal tax rates are 8.25661 mils for residential and 11.29374 for non-residential. The vacant lands tax rate is 10.32076 mils. Council will require that Bylaw 32/2015 was passed as a stimulus to develop vacant residential lots in existing neighborhoods. This is exclusively applied to residential properties, and 18 lots were affected for the 2021 tax year. Slide number 5 is the Service Credit Union Place capital levy, commenced in 2005, and represents the annual debenture payment payable for the initial construction costs of Service Credit Union Place. 2021 the 2021's capital tax rate is split evenly between the residential and non-residential classes at 0.26394, and 3 years remain on this 20-year debenture. Education tax rates. The purpose of the proposed residential rate is 2.56613 and the non-residential rate of 3.86528. There are changes to both rates based on the Provincial Equalized 2018-2019 assessment base. Overall, St. Albert has a 0.3% increase with differing outcomes on the res and non-res split, which administration will provide more clarity on later in this report. Slide number 7, the 2021 tax rates for Homeland housing residential are 0.09388, and for the non-residential 0.12611. New physical growth has offset these increases, and a good example of these types of properties is Homeland would be Northridge Lodge or the Chateau Mission in St. Albert. Designated industrial property rate is 0.0766 mils. The city levies and collects this on behalf of the province. It includes linear, rail, and major industrial plants, and a lot of people would consider this akin to some of those major projects in Sturgeon County, Strathcona County, oil and gas revenue. Page 9 is a summary of all the mill rates applied to both the residential and non-residential property types, equaling 11.18055 and 15.54904 respectively. And section 2 of my report is an overview of the 2020 assessment roll. Much of assessment is regulated under the MGA. Assessments are based off market value using mass appraisal. The valuation date is July 1st, 2020. Physical condition date as of December 31st, 2020. And completion of the roll is February 28th, 2021. And we're also audited by Alberta Municipal Affairs. Statistical snapshot of the 2020 roll year. 29,300 parcels total in St. Albert. The 2020 taxable assessment is $12.5 billion. We have 18,200 single-family dwellings, 6,400 condo and semi-detached units, and 800 non-residential properties. Our taxable assessment base is comprised of not only taxable properties within a municipality, but typically exempted are schools, churches, city-owned properties, college and universities, hospitals and nursing homes. Change to the taxable assessment base, it remained stable for the 2020 tax assessment year, at $12.5 billion. Slide 16, assessment growth. The total growth was 1.8%, or $225 million. Importantly, much of that growth came from the multifamily residential, equaling 40%, or $89 million. Historically, St. Albert has been known for its predominance of single-family dwellings, and interesting, it is the lowest of the three categories this year. Slide number 17 is assessment growth history. At the right-hand side of the chart is the summary of the two sectors, residential and non-residential, for 2020. Note the healthy non-residential growth in green at 3.75. Overall growth was on the lower end of the trend line for 10 years. However, physical growth in St. Albert remained quite resilient in a year affected by COVID-19. Market value change. These are the overall supply and demand factors that affect property values. They include the sales of properties on the non-residential side, vacancy, and factors affecting overall income. The overall residential change was negative 1.2%. Non-residential properties were impacted by a downward market trend greater, with a median decrease of 5.2%. Overall, the market value change was 1.9%. Taxable assessment base split. The assessment base regressed 0.3%, primarily due to the non-residential decrease of 5.2% in assessed value. It is important for council to note that they have little control over the assessment split. This is derived by property values and the overall market conditions within the city of St. Albert. Section 3, tax impacts. The property tax composition 2021. Municipal tax accounts account for 76% of the overall property tax bill. 23% is the education tax, and finally, homeland housing accounts for 1%. As mentioned prior, the City of St. Albert does not control the education or homeland housing levies. Municipal tax split. The municipal tax split has naturally migrated toward the non-residential sector in 2021. It is primarily due to the non-residential growth of 3.75. The non-residential component of the property tax base has moved 0.3%, and it goes from 19.9 in 2019 assessment year to 20.2 in the 2020 assessment year for 2021 taxation. This is a good news story. Page 22, tax composition. On the left is the municipal tax impact. In December, Council set the 2021 budget, resulting in a 0.7% increase at parity to both the residential and non-residential properties. Subsequently, the city has received education and homeland housing requisitions. The most impactful is the education levy for a residential property. It decreased by 2.1%, and it increased actually by 0.1% for non-residential properties. So what happened? Well, for a single family dwelling, the assessment decreased from $440,000 in 2020 to $435,000, which is approximately a 1.2% decrease. The municipal levy increased by 0.7 and the education levy decreased by 2.1. The overall result is a 0.1% increase to the average single-family dwelling homeowner. And you'll note the three highlighted portions: the decrease in the assessment year, or decrease in the assessed value, the percentage change, the approved municipal requisition, or excuse me, the approved municipal levy, the decrease in the education levy requisition, and the overall tax impact is 0.1% on the last line. A non-residential commercial building valued at $1 million in 2020 decreased in value to $950,000 in the 2021 tax year, which is approximately a $52,000 difference, or a negative 5.2% decrease. The municipal levy is at parity and increased by 0.7%. The education levy, different than the residential, has actually increased a small amount. And finally, the overall increase for a non-residential property would be 0.5%. And page 26 is just the seniors property tax notes. It's a seniors homeowners grant, continues for 2021. It is $200 per eligible household. The 2021 budget is $90,000, and approximately we're estimating 600 properties will receive that grant. The second seniors program is the Provincial Seniors Property Tax Deferral Program. It continues in 2021. This program is importantly administered by the province, and the 2020 uptake was 78 properties. 2019 was 82 properties.